Kevin was about to return tomorrow, but he got a call from Taeyang. At first, he was confused as to why he was calling him after such a long time. Taeyang tell him that Jungkook is in Sydney at the moment, and he thinks he has found out about Ryan. Kevin left everything and returned home. When he got home, his grandmother told him about the man Jasmine had rescued yesterday. He suspected that the man was Jungkook, and his suspicion came true when he saw him with Jasmine with his own eyes. Jasmine, you go in. I want to talk to a guest, Kevin said, looking at Jungkook, who was glaring at him. Okay, don't take too long and come in quickly. I know you have not eaten anything yet. I am going to make something for you. Jasmine said to Kevin and started walking inside. Jungkook angrily grabbed Kevin by the collar when Jasmine was no longer in their sight. You bastard, how dare you touch my wife and call yourself her fiancé? His face contoured with rage. Kevin smirked, unfazed by his outburst. Mr. Jeon, don't forget, she is Jasmine, my fiancée, not your wife. Kevin said, a mile-wide smirk on his face. She's my wife. You can't marry her. Jungkook muttered in a terrified whisper. Wife? Kevin scoffed. The wife you killed? Hearing a sarcastic note in his voice, Jungkook let go of his collar and stepped back. Look, Kevin, I know what I did is unforgivable, but trust me, it was a trap. Everything was against Ryan, and when I saw her with Albert, I completely lost my mind. There was a deeper melancholy in Jungkook's voice. You should have trusted her. Kevin stared at him expressionlessly. I was blinded by anger. I did not think about the consequences and did what I thought was best. Jungkook said, I don't give a fuck about this. You killed Ryan, but it was I who gave her a new life. I love her and I will marry her. Jungkook lost his mind when he heard Kevin's confession. Without thinking, Jungkook punched Kevin hard. Kevin stumbled back. She's my wife, you can't marry her, Jungkook muttered through his clenched jaw. His eyes sparkling with fury. Ryan was your wife, but she is Jasmine. Kevin had a self-satisfied smirk on his face. Jasmine is living here with a new identity. How will you prove that she is your wife? Kevin asked, tilting his head slightly. Jungkook cannot prove that she is Ryan because Taeyang has changed her entire identity since her birth. Now only her face is like Ryan's because according to all her documents, she is Jasmine Brown. Taeyang did all this because he knew that one day Jungkook would find out about Ryan and try to take her with him. Kevin, get the idea of marrying Ryan out of your mind, otherwise it will not be good for you. There was a warning note in Jungkook's voice. Kevin took a step closer to Jungkook and muttered angrily, What if I don't? Kevin gave him a challenging look. You know I can easily kill you and then take Ryan with me. Jungkook said, You can get her body, but not her heart, because I'm the one only who owns it. Jungkook was furious. He wanted to kill Kevin so badly. He never thought that there would come a time in his life when Kevin would ever challenge him like this. Ryan was mine, is mine, and will always be mine. No one can take her away from me. Jungkook spoke with a deadly look on his face. I am wondering what will happen when she regains her memory, Kevin said. I will do anything for forgiveness, and I know one day she will forgive me, Jungkook said. Oh, I want to see that happen. Kevin quipped. I am warning you, Kevin. Don't get in my way. She's my wife, my life. You have no right to come between us. Jungkook's word ignited Kevin, and he muttered angrily. And I am telling you one last time. She's my Jasmine, my life, my love. I guess you would not understand this way. Jungkook said and was about to punch him again when Jasmine's voice stopped him. Jungkook, some men have came and are asking about you. Jasmine said to Jungkook, standing at a distance. Jungkook took one last look at Kevin and went inside. He came in and saw his man waiting for him. Boss, you have been missing since yesterday, so we tracked the location of your cell phone and checked all the house around to find you. His man said, I was waiting for you to come and take me, Jungkook said and started walking toward the front door. When Jasmine's voice stopped him, You can stay here tonight, Jasmine said, and Jungkook's heart melted. Before he could say yes, Kevin began to speak. Jasmine, my love, he is a rich businessman. His doctor will take good care of his that we can't. Kevin looked at Jungkook, who clenched his fist. Yeah, you are right. You also need good treatment for your wound. Jasmine said, and Jungkook wanted to kill Kevin to change her mind. It's late. Now you can go, Mr. Jeon. A smirk flickered at the corner of his mouth as he watched Jungkook glaring at his hand, which was again wrapped around Jasmine's waist. Only Jungkook knew how he was controlling his anger just because Ryan was here. Jungkook said goodbye to Jasmine and Karma, then left the house before sending a last glare at Kevin's direction. When Jungkook left, Kevin locked the door from the inside and turned to look at Grandma and Jasmine. Jasmine turned to go to the kitchen, but Kevin's next word stopped her on her track. We are getting married next week. Jasmine turned and looked at Kevin in shock. Why all of a sudden? Grandma asked. I was not joking when I said we could get married when I got back. Kevin said seriousness in his voice. Yeah, I know, but next week, how are we going to make all the arrangement in such a short time? Grandma asked. Leave everything to me. I will take care of everything. Just relax. Kevin said with a smile. Do you agree, Jasmine? Grandma asked, focusing on Jasmine. Yes, I agree, Jasmine said, passing a beautiful smile at Kevin's direction. What happened? Jimin asked Taeyang, who angrily threw the mobile on the couch. He is not picking up the call, Taeyang said, walking to and fro. It's night there. Maybe he is asleep at the moment, Jimin said. How can he fall asleep knowing that Jungkook is also in Sydney? Taeyang ran his hand through his hair in frustration. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in Sydney, Sebastian said, checking on the time on his cell phone. Seriously, Taeyang? You don't want him to sleep because Jungkook is in the city where he lives? Jimin said. I don't want Jungkook to find Ryan, Taeyang shouted. Lower your voice or I will pierce your vein with the bullets of my gun. Jimin's voice shook the wall. What happened to you now? Why are you so angry since yesterday? Taeyang asked. Because Hannah is dating someone and I am losing my shit. Jimin shouted again. Don't shout, it won't do any better. Taeyang said and sat down on the couch. Sir, I have a question. Can I ask? Sebastian asked hesitantly. Ask away, said Taeyang, placing one of his legs on the other. Sir, if you tell Miss Jennifer and Miss Anna everything about Miss Ryan, they will forgive you and come back to you. But you are not telling them the truth. Why? Sebastian asked. Everything will get worse. Then they will ask us to take them to Ryan, and when we refuse, they will threaten us saying that they will not forgive us. Then the drama will start and this matter will reach Jungkook's ear. Taeyang said. Women are emotional. We have spent almost 2 years without seeing Ryan, but if they found out, they would not be able to spend a week without her. Jimin added. Taeyang's phone rang and he immediately picked up his cell phone. It's Kevin's call, Taeyang said and picked up the call. Yes, what happened? Taeyang asked, and Kevin said something that made Taeyang angry. Are you mad? Suddenly, Taeyang shouted and got up from the couch. Jimin and Sebastian also stood up and approached him. You're saying like you don't know what Jungkook can do, Taeyang said. Sebastian and Jimin looked at each other, not understanding what Kevin had done that made Taeyang so angry. Listen to me, don't take. Hello? Taeyang noticed that Kevin had cut off the call, so he angrily threw his cell phone against the wall. What is it? Jimin asked. Jungkook has found out about Ryan. Taeyang muttered, clenching his fist tightly. What? Sebastian and Jimin shouted together. And this fucking Kevin has fallen in love with Ryan. Taeyang said, looking at the blank space. What? Sebastian and Jimin shouted in the shock again. He has told Jungkook that he loves her and will marry her. What the fuck? Sebastian and Jimin shouted together. He has declared war against Jungkook. He has said he will fight for his love. Is he crazy? Doesn't he know that it will take Jungkook only 1 second to send him to God? Jimin said, shaking his head at Kevin's stupidity. Taeyang walked over to the couch and sat on it. He put his hand over his face. He did not know what to do now. I will not let happiness return to Jungkook's life, Taeyang promised himself again. Kevin was working in his office when he received a message from Jasmine that she was waiting for him outside the company. They planned to do their wedding shopping today. He got up and went to his boss's office to ask for a day off. He knocked on the door, and a few seconds later, he heard come in. He opened the door and entered. Kevin, I was about to call you, said his boss. Why did you want to call me? Kevin asked as he stood in front of his boss. You have been fired, said his boss. But why, sir? How can you fire me without any reason? Kevin still does not understand why he is being fired. There's a reason, Mr. Martinez. Kevin heard a familiar voice. He turned to see Jungkook standing by the window with his hand in his pant pocket and his back to Kevin. Kevin did not realize his presence when he entered the office. Jungkook turned and walked toward Kevin and stood in front of him. The reason is, poking Kevin's chest with his index finger. You forgot last night that the person you were talking was Jungkook. A slight smile crept over his face. So I showed you a little trailer just to remind you who I am. Kevin scoffed. Do whatever you want, but I will not back down, Kevin said, angering Jungkook. It was just a trailer. There are a lot of surprises coming your way. I can go to any extent to bring my Vian back to me because I love her, Jungkook said proudly. Kevin looked at Jungkook's proud face for a second, then said, You don't love her, it's just your madness. You are just obsessed with her, Kevin said. Jungkook smiled as he listened. He leaned closer to his face and whispered, You call it madness, but I call it love. After arguing with Jungkook, Kevin came out of the company and saw Jasmine waiting for him. All his anger flew into the air and approached her with a smile on his face. Seeing Kevin approaching, Jasmine's face lit up with the joy and she hugged him. Have you got a day off? Jasmine stepped back and asked him. Yes, Kevin did not tell her he had been fired. Then let's go. Jasmine grabbed his hand. Kevin nodded and glanced at Jungkook, who was coming out of the company. Jungkook was busy talking to his man, so he did not realize Jasmine's presence yet. Kevin smirked and placed his other hand on Jasmine's back, bringing her body closer to him. Jasmine gasped, but before she could ask anything, Kevin smashed his lips on hers. Jasmine's eyes widened, as this is the first time he has kissed her lips. The time he just kisses her forehead or cheeks. She stood motionless, not understanding why he was doing this. She put her hand on his chest and tried to stop him because they were standing in public. But at the same moment, someone pulled Kevin away from her. She looked at the man who was none other than Jungkook. Jungkook threw Kevin to the ground and hovered over his body. How dare you kiss her, you scoundrel! Jungkook shouted angrily. Wrath could be seen in his eyes. Jasmine stepped forward and grabbed his arm. Wait! She tried to stop him, but he was going insane at the moment, so he pushed her away and she fell to the ground. Security guard and Jungkook's men also rushed to stop him, but Jungkook was out of control. He can tolerate anything in this world, but when someone touches something that belongs to him, he loses his patience. And Kevin has touched someone who is the most precious to Jungkook in this world. When Jungkook saw Kevin kissing his wife, he lost his last bit of sanity. Jasmine was furious when she saw Jungkook beating Kevin, and Kevin was not even trying to fight back. She got up and approached him again. She held his hand in the middle of the air with which he was about to punch Kevin again. Jungkook looked at Jasmine, anger in his eyes. Get away from him, said Jasmine, gritting her teeth. Jungkook looked at Kevin, who was smirking even after beating so much. Jungkook clenched his jaw and stood up. Jasmine immediately approached Kevin and helped him stand up. When Kevin stood up, he looked at Jungkook and licked the blood from the side of his lips. Jasmine approached Jungkook and stood in front of him. Why did you do this? Jasmine's voice was filled with fury. He kissed you. His words were barely more than a whisper. His voice was low, but she was sure no one else heard. But her face burned furiously. And what do you have to do with it? Jasmine inquired, frowning slightly. Because Jungkook's gaze shifted to Kevin, who was smirking, standing behind Jasmine. Because what? Jasmine asked. He should not have kissed you. Jungkook was hushed, his gaze green, penetrating. He can kiss me because I am his fiancé. I love him and we are getting married soon. So you better mind your own business and not get involved in other people's matter, Mr. Jeon. Jungkook clenched his fist to control his anger, but Kevin was enjoying the show. He was really happy to see Jungkook's miserable condition. No punishment is better than seeing another man kissing his wife and then his wife claiming to love someone else in front of him. Kevin, come on, we have to go to the hospital, said Jasmine without taking her eye off Jungkook's face. Dear love, let's go, Kevin said, smirking at Jungkook. Jungkook looked behind Jasmine again to see Kevin smirk again. His face contorted with rage as Kevin was testing his patience too much. Jasmine took one last look at Jungkook before leaving. Kevin saw Jungkook's middle finger and followed Jasmine with a smirk on his face. Jungkook was furious. He had never felt so helpless in his life. His wife claimed to love someone else, and he could do nothing. You send your death with your own hand, Kevin managed, Jungkook muttered. It was night time when Kevin and Jasmine were walking home. She was angry with Kevin for kissing her in public place, and that what caused the scene. So he took her to the amusement park to cheer her up. After hours of time, she finally forgave him. Why is it so dark in the house? Walking on the road leading to the house, seeing all the lights off, Jasmine asked. Maybe Grandma gone somewhere, he said as he walked with his hand in his pocket. Are you going to your house? Jasmine asked, turning her head towards him. I will stay with you in your house until Grandma returns, he said and gave her a smile which melted her heart. You live in the house next to ours. Why don't you shift with us? Jasmine asked, and Kevin's eyes lit up with love. He took his left hand out of his pocket and grabbed Jasmine's hand. After marriage, the three of us will live together, he said and kissed the back of her hand. The two continued walking towards the house, holding each other's hand. They finally reached the main entrance. Jasmine pressed the code and opened the door. They both entered, but they could not see anything because the whole house was engulfed by the creepy darkness. Where's the switch? Kevin touched the ball to find the switchboard. Here it is, he exclaimed and turned on the light. Grandma! Hearing Jasmine's sudden scream, he turned and looked at her. His body froze when he saw his grandmother lying on the ground next to the couch. Jasmine and Kevin both ran toward her. Jasmine sat on the ground, placed her grandmother's head on her lap. Please, Kevin, call an ambulance, Jasmine said, crying. Kevin placed his trembling finger on Grandma's neck and checked her pulse. Jasmine's eyes filled with fear of losing her only family. Kevin closed his eyes when he found no pulse. He opened his eyes again and put his finger close to his grandma's nose and checked her breath. After checking her breath, he bowed his head and a few tears came out of his eyes. Kevin, please call an ambulance, Jasmine pleaded, tears flowing from her eyes like a river. Kevin looked at her face and shook his head, tears coursing down her cheeks. She is no more. After 2 days, Kevin is sitting in front of his grandmother's grave, looking at the grave without blinking his eyes, while tears are blurring his vision. Grandma died of a heart attack. Jasmine cried a lot and blamed herself for grandmother's death. She has not eaten anything for 2 days and just saddened by the death of her grandmother. Kevin is broken inside, but he did not show it to Jasmine. Jasmine is not even her real granddaughter, but in these 2 years, she made a strong relationship with his grandmother. Grandma wanted Kevin to marry her soon. She even said that she would not be alive to see how their life would go, but at least she wanted to see Kevin and Jasmine get married. She did not get married. She could not see her son's wedding, but she desperately wanted to see her grandson's wedding. I could not even fulfill her last wish, Kevin thought as tears ran down his cheeks. Sorry for your loss. Kevin heard a deep voice behind him. He immediately recognized the voice and stood up wiping his tears. He turned and found Jungkook holding a flower in his hand. Jungkook stepped forward and laid flower at the cemetery. Then he looked at Kevin, who was already looking at him. Even though you lied to Ryan that she was her granddaughter, but I know you were her grandson, Jungkook said, but Kevin just looked at him with his blank eyes. I never thought she would die of a heart attack, he said, looking at the grave with his hand clasped over his lower abdomen. Why did you do this? Kevin asked. Jungkook turned his head to Kevin and looked at him confusion. What did I do? Jungkook asked innocently. Don't pretend to be innocent. I knew you had a hand in her death, Kevin said, and slowly a sinful smirk appeared on Jungkook's lip. Told her everything about you, but it's not my fault. She could not handle it. You bastard! Kevin stepped forward and grabbed his collar. I showed her all the video of you torturing and then killing people in my dengue. Jungkook confessed without shame in his eyes. Kevin left his collar with a jerk and took a few steps back. Now you have increased my stubbornness to make Jasmine mine. I will not let her fall into the hands of a monster like you, Kevin said, and Jungkook began laughing. Don't tell me you thought I came here just to put a flower on your grandmother's grave, Jungkook said with a smile. Kevin got confused, and before he could understand the situation, something hit him in the head. He screamed in pain and fell to the ground on his knee. His eyes blurred while he was losing consciousness. He saw Jungkook approaching and heard his last word before going into the darkness. Your stubbornness can't defeat my madness. Jasmine was sitting alone in the lobby when she received a message on her cell phone. She unlocked it and saw that Kevin had texted her. She opened the message and read it. Jasmine, I'm sorry, but I'm leaving this country. I proposed to you because your grandmother forced me. Now that she is dead, I have no reason to continue this act of love for you. Sorry, Jasmine, but I never fell in love with you. I have had my dreams for myself, so I am leaving this country. Please forgive me. As soon as she read this text, she felt as if her world had stopped. It's not true. He really loved me. It's all a lie, she muttered to herself. The doorbell rang, and she thought that Kevin had come. So she hurried to the door and opened it. But her hopes were dashed when she saw a few men standing at the door. How can I help you? Seeing the man standing outside, she asked in confusion. We are giving you a few hours to vacate this house, said the man. What do you mean? She cocked a quizzical eyebrow at the man. This house was registered in the name of Kevin Martinez. He sold the house a week ago and asked us for 3 days to vacate the house. What are you saying? This is not Kevin's house, this is my grandmother's house. But she passed away 2 days ago, Jasmine said. We are not lying, madam. You can see the papers, said the man, taking out the papers from his briefcase. Jasmine took the paper from his hand and could not believe her eyes. What she was saying. I don't believe in this. The house belonged to my grandmother, and I will not let anyone touch anything in my house. Jasmine threw the paper at the man, who quickly gripped them before they fell to the ground. Leave this house now, or we will use the other way, said the man. Keep in your mind that I will not leave this house, said Jasmine. Don't force us to call the police on you, the man said. I said I would not leave this house. This is our house, not Kevin's, Jasmine shouted. I think we should use our own way, the man said and looked at his companions. Pick up everything and throw it out of the house. The other man pushed Jasmine to the side and entered. Jasmine went after them to stop them, but they did not listen and picked up things and started throwing them out. Jasmine screamed and begged, but they turned deaf ears to her pleas. Neighbors gathered outside the house and tried to help her. But when the owner of the house told them everything, that the house belonged to him and she was living here illegally, then the neighbor also refused to help her. Jasmine saw how they were throwing all the furniture of her grandmother's room. She thought she would take care of grandma's stuff, but now it's all over. Her parents left her grandmother left her, Kevin left her too. She has no one in this world. She looked at the building nearby, wiped a tear with the back of her hand, and ran towards the building. She reached the roof and stood on the edge. Grandma, why did you leave me when I needed you the most? Look, where life has taken me. Kevin, I loved you so much. Why did you leave me? Why did you show me the dream that you were going to settle later? God took everything away from me. I have no reason to live anymore, she said. Jasmine spread her arms wide and closed her eyes. She felt the wind touch her face. She let her body fall, but at the same time, someone grabbed her arm, pulled her back. She slammed into someone's hard chest. The person held her tightly in his arm. Her ears were placed on the ear of her chest when she could hear the man's heartbeat. His chest was moving up and down as he was breathing hard. You scared me. Please never do that again. Hearing the concern in the voice sent a chill down her spine. She did not know who it was that was hugging her, but she was feeling calm in his arms. Kevin hugged her several times, but she never felt this way with him. Unknowingly, she wrapped her arms around his waist and closed her eyes to feel this foreign feeling. She never hugged strangers, but she felt safe with this man. Little did she know that she was feeling safe in the arms of her tormentor. Jungkook's point of view. After texting Ryan from Kevin's number, I waited a while and then told my men to start doing what I told them to do. I am sitting in my car parked some distance from Ryan's house. I was watching all the scenes of how she was screaming, crying, and begging them to stop. My heart was clenching at the sight of her condition, and I thought to go out and stop my men. But I kept my emotions under control and kept reminding myself that I was doing all this for her good. A few minutes later, I saw her running towards the building. I got confused and immediately got out of my car. I ran after her. My men stopped throwing things when they saw me running after Ryan. I entered the building and heard footsteps running upstairs. I hurried up the stairs to the roof. My breath hissed as I found her standing on the edge of the roof. God took everything away from me. I have no reason to live anymore. Hearing her words, fear filled my heart. She opened her arms. I hurried over to her and held her arms as she let her body fall. I pulled her back and hugged her tightly. My heart was beating so fast and my chest was moving up and down due to rapid breathing. You scared me. Please never do that again. God knows what would have happened if I had not arrived on time. I can't lose her again. I want to live with her till my last breath. I felt her wrapping her arms around my waist. I closed my eyes, feeling her warm breath and soft skin against mine. Her touch, her hug, her scent all gave me inner peace. Who are you? I heard her whisper. I pulled her back and saw that her eyes were closed. I cupped her face with my hand. She opened her eyes slowly, seeing me. Her eyes widened and she moved back. Jungkook? She asked uncertainly. I nodded my head slightly. Why did you save me? She asked. Why did you try to kill yourself? Instead of answering, I asked her. She looked down, then with a doleful sigh, she sighed. It's all over. I have no reason left. I realized that I was in the same situation that night when I realized that I had lost Vayan forever. I wanted to kill myself, but Taeyang stopped me and gave me a reason to live. And the reason was to avenge Vayan, to kill those who trapped my Vayan. I have no one left, she said again. You always have me. I want to say out loud. I am tired. She glanced at me through her dropping lids. I wrapped one hand around her waist and patted her cheek with the other. Jasmine, I called. Her eyes closed and it seemed that she was about to faint. I am dizzy, she said and drifted into unconsciousness. Forgive me for causing you trouble. I promise I will make everything better. I said and planted a kiss on her forehead. I picked her up in my arms and started walking down the stairs. I walked out of the building. Her head was resting on my shoulder. Her warm breath on my neck sent my heart in a flurry of wild beats. Neighbors were still standing outside their homes watching me as I carried the unconscious Ryan in my arms and walked toward the park car in the distance. I looked at my man, who smiled and started putting things back in the house. My gaze focused back on the her. No one can take you away from me now. Andy opened the car door for me. I sat inside with Ryan on my lap. Is everything ready? I asked Andrew. Yes, boss. The private jet is ready. And I called Sebastian and told him that you will stay in your old mansion. He is making all the arrangement in the mansion and everything will be ready by the time we get there. Andrew said. All right, drive now. I said. Okay, boss, said Andrew and started the car. Soon we arrived. Andrew opened the door and I got out of the car with Ryan in my arms and headed for. I got in my jet and went straight to the private room and laid her on the bed. Just hours before their landing, Jasmine regained consciousness. She opened her eyes and saw Jungkook sitting beside her, who was already watching her. How are you feeling now? His entire expression reflected deep concern. Jasmine sat on the bed and looked around the room in confusion. Where am I? Her eyes narrowed as she looked at the room. In my private jet. As soon as the word came out of his mouth, her head turned suddenly, her bewildered gaze searching his face. What? She asked in disbelief. We are going to New York, Jungkook said, and the blood drained from her face. But why? I mean, how can you take me with you like that? She gave him a cold stare, knowing her face was getting red. You said you have no one and no reason to live. So I am taking you to New York because from now on you are with me and I will give you a place to live. With her hand on her face, she burst into tears, shocking him. I can't. Her voice broke and the tears slid down her face. There's nothing left for you in Sydney. Let's start a new life in a new place. His voice was warm and gentle. I don't want to go to New York. Jasmine shook her head and wiped her face with her shirt sleeves. Then where do you want to go? Disappointment was written in his face. I don't know, Jasmine said in a whisper, looking down. Jungkook placed his hand on hers and she flinched. When she looked up at him, his gaze hovered over her face. Her eyes were filled with tears and her face felt flushed. You saved my life and now in return let me help you. Please trust me and I will not let any trouble come in your way. The small smile spread across his face. Jasmine hesitated, staring up at his face. She wondered if she should trust him. She has no place to live and doesn't know any of her relatives. Will you let me help you? Jungkook asked with a hopeful look in his eyes. Jasmine looked at dry lips and nodded slightly, forgetting hands in her lap. She does not know if she had made the right decision, but she wants to see what life in New York has in store for her. They both arrived in New York. Sebastian stood with the bodyguard waiting for Jungkook. The door opened and he saw Jungkook coming out, but there was also a girl with him. It was dark, so he could not see the girl's face. They both went down the air stairs and started walking towards the car. Sebastian was really angry when he saw his boss with another girl. How can he even think of another woman after killing his own wife? Sebastian thought and kept cursing his boss. As Jungkook and Jasmine approached the car, Jasmine raised her face and looked at Sebastian. Sebastian, who was still angry, shocked to see Vian. The look on Sebastian's face was priceless. Miss Vi, she is Jasmine, Jasmine Brown. Jungkook said quickly and gave him a fierce glare. Sebastian was shocked. He could not believe that Jungkook had brought Vian with him. But why he was calling her Jasmine and how she had agreed to come with him. And wait, how Gavin let Jasmine go with him? Sebastian's thoughts were interrupted when Jungkook cleared his throat to get Sebastian's attention. Sebastian looked at his boss, who was glaring at him. He understood that his boss wanted him to act along with him. Hello, ma'am. Nice to meet you. Sebastian greeted Jasmine. Likewise, Jasmine replied shortly, a smile twisting her lips. Sebastian opened the car door for Jasmine. Jasmine sat in the car. Jungkook made his way to the other side of the car and sat inside. Sebastian sat down in the passenger seat. The driver started the car and drove to Jungkook's old mansion. They reached the mansion 20 minutes after the ride. The guards opened the door for Jungkook and Jasmine. The guards greeted him and he just gave them a nod of acknowledgement before taking Jasmine inside the mansion. I have to tell Taeyang, sir, Sebastian mumbled, pulling out a cell phone and calling Taeyang. Hello? Came Taeyang's voice from the other side. Sir, something really unexpected has happened. Jungkook's jet exploded and he died. His voice was dead and monotonous. No, sir. He landed safely, but he brought someone with him. Sebastian said, and the line fell silent. Don't say. Taeyang finally spoke after a few seconds. Yes, sir, you guessed right, said Sebastian, and he heard something break from the other line. He fucking brought Vian with him? Taeyang shouted, and Sebastian pulled his cell phone away from his ear. I'm coming there. Taeyang told Sebastian. He is currently in his old mansion. Sebastian informed, and Taeyang hung up without saying another word. This is your room. Do you like it? Jungkook asked Jasmine, pointing to the room. He wanted to take her to his room, but he did not want to mess things up. He needs to gain her trust so that she can feel comfortable with him. It's beautiful, said Jasmine, looking around the room. I specially designed this room in black and red as these are your favorite colors. Jungkook said, without realizing what information he was disclosing. She turned questioning eyes on Jungkook. How do you know I like black and red colors? Fuck, Jungkook, what did you do? He muttered a curse and lied. You told me when I was at your house. I never told you, Jasmine said confidently. How can I know your favorite colors if you have not told me? Jungkook said. Did I really tell you? Jasmine asked uncertainly. Yes, Jungkook said without making an eye contact with her. It's weird that I am starting to forget things now. Jasmine whispered, but Jungkook heard. Now you go and freshen up. I will call you for dinner in an hour, Jungkook said, and Jasmine nodded. Jungkook smiled, walked towards the door, and left the room. Jungkook! Jungkook came out of his room and was about to go to the kitchen when he heard someone calling his name. He immediately recognized that it was Taeyang's voice. Jungkook, come out! Taeyang shouted again, and Jungkook closed his eyes in pure frustration. Putting his hand on the railing, he looked down and found Taeyang standing in the living room like a firewall. Jungkook put his hand in his pant pockets and started walking down the stairs. Sebastian is really fast in spreading the news, Jungkook said as he descended the stairs. Where is Vian? Taeyang asked, ignoring his sarcasm. Now you are forgetting things. Have you already forgotten that Vian is dead? Jungkook asked. So play with me, Jungkook, or I will go upstairs and take her with me. Jungkook's grey eyes blazed as he stood up straight and proud before Taeyang. I dare you to do that, Jungkook said, gritting his teeth. You sent her once with Gavin, but if you try to do it again, then Jungkook took some steps forward. You will see my wrath. Taeyang scoffed and also stepped forward. Enjoy this time as much as you want, but one day I will take fire with me in front of your eyes. You won't be able to do anything. Don't play with fire if you don't want to get burned, said Jungkook. You can't get burned. He leaned closer to Jungkook's face. When you are the flame, Taeyang whispered, the corner of his mouth pulled up into a smirk. He took a step back and spoke. I have made a lot of sacrifice to keep Vian away from a monster like you. Now I don't want my sacrifice to be in vain. I won't let you ruin her life again. I love her. Jungkook stood with his back straight, as if proud of every word he said. You said that before. But what did you do with her that night? Taeyang asked. Jungkook had no answer. You almost killed her. I, Jimin, and Sebastian saved her. I sent her away with Kevin. I told Kevin to give her a new life. I did not want her to remember her horrible past. Taeyang said, and Jungkook listened to him silently. You ruined her life, but Kevin gave her a new life. She was living her life so well, but you have come back to ruin her life once again. But this time, I won't let anything happen to Vian. I know you don't love her, it's just your obsession for her. The word obsession triggered the beast inside Jungkook, and the dark aura engulfed him. He remembered that Kevin had said the same thing. They all think that it was just his obsession. Why can't they see that he is doing everything for Vian? He wants to give her a better life, which Kevin can't give her. He does not want Vian to regain her memory. He wants a fresh start with her. He will love her so much that even if she ever remembers her past, she will not be able to leave him. I am leaving now, but one day I will come to take Vian with me. Until then, enjoy your time with her. Taeyang's word brought Jungkook back to earth. He looked at Taeyang, who left a glare at him. Taeyang turned on his heel and left the mansion. Jungkook was standing with his hands in his pocket and was looking at Taeyang's back as he was leaving the mansion. I know you are taking revenge for ruining your relationship with Jennifer. Jungkook muttered to himself, staring at the main door from where Taeyang had just left. Taking a deep breath, he headed for the kitchen to see if dinner was ready. Once the maid set the table, Jungkook saw Jasmine coming down the stair. He smiled and headed for the stairs. She looked no less than an angel descending from heaven in that white, sleeveless floral mid-length dress. She was still as beautiful as the day he met her. His heart was pounding as she stopped in front of him. You look so beautiful, Jungkook said, and she smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. Dinner is ready, let's go, Jungkook said, extending his hand. Jasmine looked at his hand for a few seconds. She was hesitant. Jungkook did not like her hesitation. He wants her to be comfortable with him. Sometimes he wants the old Vian back, but he is also afraid because if her memory comes back, he will lose both Jasmine and Vian. Jungkook put his hand down and cleared his throat. Come on. Jungkook started walking towards the dining table and Jasmine followed him. They both approached the table. Jungkook pulled out a chair for Jasmine. Jasmine thanked him and sat down on a chair. Jungkook then sat down on the table's head chair. Jasmine's eyes widened when she saw that all the food placed on the table was her favorite. She wondered if she had even told him about her favorite food. Jungkook looked at her and smiled because he knew what she was thinking at the moment. So before she could ask him anything, he started acting. I'm sorry, I did not know your favorite food, so I asked the maid to make all the best dishes. If you don't like it, then tell the maid your favorite food. She will make it for you, Jungkook said. Jasmine said quickly, no, no, actually everything is my favorite. So I was wondering, how do you know about my favorite food? How can I know when you have not told me? A smile was playing at the corner of his mouth as he watched her. Yes, you are right, said Jasmine, looking at her empty plate. Here, Jungkook put the pasta on her plate. I hope you like it. Jungkook knows she likes pasta the most, so he deliberately put it on her plate. Thanks. Jasmine smiled, thanked him, and started eating. Jungkook is really happy to finally see her sitting in front of his eyes. It was as if what was happening was just a dream. But if it really was a dream, he would never want to wake up from this beautiful dream. Do you have a plan? Jimin asked. Not now. I need time to think, said Taeyang, rubbing his temple with his finger. Tomorrow I am going to tell Anna that Vian is alive, said Jimin, and Taeyang turned his head towards Jimin. Don't tell her anything right now. We need to make a plan to get Vian out of Jungkook's clutches, Taeyang said. What's the point of hiding now? Jungkook already know everything. Jimin, don't be silly and wait for a few days. Taeyang started rubbing his temples again because he was having a headache. Wait, Jimin scoffed, and Taeyang looked at him strangely. You want me to wait until I get Anna's wedding card? Jimin said angrily, and Taeyang closed his eyes in frustration. Tell me, Jimin shouted. Taeyang opened his eyes and looked at Jimin. She is not dating anyone, you punk. The boy you saw that day was her cousin, and they are both piano teachers at the same school. Get some information before you talk nonsense, for God's sake. The frustration and anger was in Taeyang's voice. Jimin let out a sigh and plopped down on one end of the couch. Thank God she is still single. Relief crossed Jimin's feature. After having a mind blowing experience with us, they will be really careful around the boys. So just chill. Taeyang said and got up from the couch. I am tired, I want to sleep. Now get up and go home, Taeyang said. Jimin also stood up and wrapped his arm around Taeyang's shoulder. Taeyang raised his eyebrow questioningly. I will sleep here tonight. Jimin's face engaged in a smile that created little wrinkles around his eyes and grooves in his cheeks. Annoyed, Taeyang yanked Jimin's arm from his shoulder. No, Taeyang said sternly, and Jimin rolled his eyes. I did not ask you, I told you. Jimin said in a monotone and started walking toward Taeyang's room. Taeyang shook his head and sighed dramatically. Friends are sometimes like a pain in the ass. Jungkook checked the entire security system of the house because he could no longer trust anyone. Andres gave him all the details about his company, Blake, and Albert. It is strange that Albert did not make any move even after all his weapons were confiscated. And for Blake, he does not know what to do. His mother played with his emotions, and what he did with Jungkook was just revenge. He knows that what his parents did was wrong, but what Blake did to him in the name of revenge is also not right. His parents are sinners. He will not atone for the sins of his parents. He will not forgive his parents for betraying Blake, and he will not forgive Blake for trapping Ryan for revenge. Jungkook came out of his study and started walking toward his room. He was walking outside Jasmine's room when he heard the faint voice of Jasmine. Distraught, he opened the door of Jasmine's room and entered. Fire. He heard her breathing heavily and muttering something. He turned on the light and walked towards the bed. He sat down next to her. Her breathing was ragged and uneven, her trembling body slick with sweat. Jungkook lowered his hand and wiped sweat from her forehead. Jasmine, Jungkook called softly. It's nightmare. Please wake up, he said, gently caressing her hairs. Jasmine, wake up. Jasmine's eyes snapped open. Her gaze flew to Jungkook. It was just a nightmare, His voice lowered and he spoke softly. Jasmine sat up and scooted back so she could lean on the headboard. She grabbed her head, which was hurting again. Are you okay? Jungkook asked, his brow furrowed with concern. After a few seconds, the pain subsided. She closed her eyes and blew out a breath. Jasmine? Hearing his voice, Jasmine opened her eyes and looked at Jungkook. His expression was a blend of caution and concern. This is the first time she has seen a glimpse of her past and has not forgotten it after a headache. The memory she got really confused her. She saw something really unexpected. She doesn't know if it was just a dream or a memory of her past. So she asked Jungkook to make it clear. Did we meet before I lost my memory? 1 month later. Jasmine point of view. It has been a whole month. I have been living in Jungkook's house. Every night I see dreams that feel like reality. That night I asked Jungkook if we had ever met before, but he refused and said he had never seen me before. The headaches that occur every night are unbearable. I desperately need the medicine that Kevin used to give me every day, but unfortunately, I don't know the name of that medicine and I can't even ask Jungkook to take me to the doctor because I don't want to be a burden on him. Sometimes when I do something, I feel like I have done it before. I am sure one day my brain will explode because of all this. Where are you lost? I heard a voice near me. I turned to right and saw Jungkook leaning against the counter looking at me. No, nowhere. I stammered. It has been half an hour since you came to the kitchen to make coffee. Jungkook pointed to the coffee machine in front of me, which I had not yet touched. Oh yeah, I am going to make it now, I said and started making coffee. Is everything alright? His features grew worried. Yeah, everything is fine. You go to the backyard. I will get the coffee there in a few minutes, I said. Okay, I'm waiting for you, he said, smiling and walking out of the kitchen. Jungkook is actually a nice man. He always talks to me politely. He treats me very well. He has only been out of the house a few times. He never took me out, and I never even asked him to take me out. When I asked him about his work, he told me he is a famous businessman. When I asked him about his parents, a dark look crossed his feature, and he said that he had lost his parents in childhood. Sometimes I think Jungkook is hiding something from me. There were times when I felt like Jungkook was lying, like he said he never met before. Hearing my question that night, I saw the color draining from his face. Everything is vague and obscure, and this puzzle can only be solved when I get my memory back. I made 2 cups of coffee and went to the backyard. Jungkook was sitting on the bench using his mobile phone. I don't have mobile phone and I have not found any news channel on TV. Things like this are making me spectacle of Jungkook now. I approached him and sat down on the bench next to him. Here, I offered the coffee. Jungkook placed his mobile on one side of the bench and grabbed a cup of coffee from my hand. The weather is great today, I said, looking up at the sky. Weather forecasters have said that it will be rain for a few days, Jungkook said and took a sip of coffee. Really? I's right. Yeah, Jungkook chuckled softly. I like rain, I told him, and he raised an eyebrow at me. I thought you liked snow. He took another sip from his coffee, his eyes fixed on me. Sometimes I feel like he knows me better than I do. I like everything except sunny day. I scrunched my nose. Jungkook shook his head and chuckled. Do you like rain? I asked him. Jungkook went into deep thought, and I frowned. I poked my finger into his arm. What happened? I asked perplexedly. Nothing. And yes, I like to see rain, but I don't like getting wet. He replied. Looks like we will both enjoy the rain together. I said excitedly, and he smiled. Where are you going? Jimin leaned against the door frame, circled his arm over his chest, and asked Taeyang, who was standing in front of the dressing table, combing his hair. After combing his hair, Taeyang went to bed and picked up his jacket. I'm going to see Jennifer. Taeyang replied, wearing a jacket and putting his cell phone in his pocket. What the hell? Are you going to Canada? He stood up and approached the bed. No, Jennifer is back in New York because her father is not well. Taeyang walked over to the bedside table and picked up the car key. What would you say to her? Jimin asked when Taeyang was walking towards him. Truth. Taeyang stood in front of Jimin and gave a short answer. You mean the plan we both made? We are going to work on it tonight. Taeyang said and walked out of the room, leaving Jimin aboard. Taeyang arrived at Jennifer's home. He got out of the car and the security guard automatically opened the gate for him. They seemed to have learned their lesson. Taeyang thought, smirking and looking at the guards. Several times the security guard had stopped him from entering the house. But one night, Taeyang kidnapped the security guards for a few hours and taught them a lesson. Since that night, they have never left the house. He entered, and his eyes went to the garden where Jennifer was walking. He took a deep breath and walked towards her. She turned around when she heard footsteps coming toward her and gasped as she found Taeyang standing in front of her. Without saying a word, they just stared at each other. The eyes of both were showing a different story. There was hatred in Jennifer's eyes and remorse in Taeyang's eye. Guard! At Jennifer's call, about 8 guards came and stood beside her. Throw him out. Jennifer ordered her guard, looking at Taeyang. The guards stepped forward and grabbed Taeyang. Wilson, she addressed one of her bodyguards. Yes, ma'am. He was standing in front of her, waiting for her order. Fire the security guard who let him into the house. And if I ever see him here again, I will fire you too. Jennifer said sturdily. Okay, ma'am. He bowed his head. Jennifer looked at Taeyang for the last time and started walking inside the house. But she came to an abrupt halt when she heard Taeyang's next word. Ryan is alive. Jennifer turned abruptly. A sudden shock passed through her whole being. What did you say just now? She asked timidly. I said Ryan is alive, said Taeyang, stepping forward. Please give me a few minutes so I can tell you the whole truth. Taeyang pleaded. Jennifer looked at her guard and motioned for them to leave. The guard left the two alone and returned to their previous positions. Jennifer stepped toward Taeyang and stood in front of him, crossing her arms over her chest. Tell me now, said Jennifer. I killed Leon Big. Taeyang began, but Jennifer cut him off. Tell me about Ryan. Taeyang took a deep breath and told her everything about how Jungkook's father had trapped Ryan, how they had rescued her and sent her to Sydney, and how she was in Jungkook's clutches again. Jennifer is shocked to hear everything. She can't believe that her friend is still alive. You want me to forgive you, don't you? Jennifer asked. Taeyang did not expect her to say that. He was hesitant, but still nodded his head slightly. Then free her from your friend's clutches and bring her to my house. I will forgive you for everything you have done in the past, Jennifer said, and Taeyang sadly chuckled. I care about Ryan as much as you do. She is like a sister to me, and I have sacrificed a lot to protect her, said Taeyang. She tucked her lower lip beneath her teeth, not being able to utter a single word. She cannot ignore the fact that Ryan is alive because of Taeyang. He could have told her about Ryan before, but he only had everything to save Ryan from Jungkook. Jimin and I are going to take Ryan tonight. If you want to meet her, come to this address. You can meet her tonight because I am taking her far away from here next morning. Where Jungkook will not able to find her. Taeyang handed her the paper with the address written on it. I told you about Vayan, so you can meet her one last time, not because I want you to forgive me. Jimin will also tell Anna everything today, so it is better to bring her with you, he said and turned to go. But Jennifer stopped him. Wait, Taeyang. Taeyang stopped but did not look back at Jennifer. Why? She could not make word. Thanks for saving my friend. She just wanted to apologize for her behavior, but she did not have the courage to apologize. I saved my sister, not your friend. Taeyang said rudely and started walking towards the gate. He was very upset when she put the condition in front of him. Now he does not care if Jennifer forgives him or not. His only priority is to save Ryan from Jungkook. He does not want history to repeat itself. It is night time and it is raining heavily. Jungkook and Jasmine are standing together watching the rain through a glass window. Now I want to go out and enjoy the rain, said Jasmine, looking at Jungkook. Don't even dare step outside. It's winter and you will catch a cold. Jungkook said sternly and she pouted her lip. Jungkook bit his lower lip and controlled himself from kissing her. Only he knew how he controlled himself around her and not pounce on her. Can I open the window? I can't see clearly. Jasmine looked at him with puppy eyes. Jungkook could not help but nod his head. Jasmine smiled and opened the window. She was about to go out in the rain when Jungkook grabbed her arm and pulled her towards him. Her back hit his chest. Nice trick, Jungkook said. A soft laugh escaped his throat. She turned and stepped back, but Jungkook still did not let go of her hand. Leave my hand, I promise I won't go out, Jasmine said, trying to free her hand. I don't trust you, Jungkook teased. Please. The light went off, leaving the house in darkness. What happened? Jasmine asked him. There was no sign of fear in her voice. Probably a power outage due to the storm, Jungkook replied. It was dark, and only the sound of heavy rain could be heard. You love darkness, don't you? Jungkook asked. He could not see her face, but he knew. Her eyes must be wide open. How did you know that? Jasmine asked in surprise. Because if there was someone else in your place, she would cling to me like a cola, Jungkook said and Jasmine chuckled. Jungkook and Ryan made love mostly in the dark according to Ryan's wish. She likes it when he kisses her in the dark, because that way she can only focus on his touch. Jungkook let go of her hand he was holding and pushed the glass door shut again. Why did you? Her words were cut off when Jungkook pushed her gently against the glass door and placed both his hands on either side of her head. What are you? Jungkook put his index finger on her lips. Just feel my touch. Before Jasmine could understand the meaning of his word, he lowered his head and caught her lips with his. Her eyes popped out of their socket. She placed her hand on his broad chest to push him away, but Jungkook grabbed her soft hand in one of his rough big hands and placed them on top of her head. With the other hand, he grabbed her slim waist. He pulled her close, his lips seeking her hungrily. A faint moan came out of her lips as she began to feel pleasure. She loved the feeling of his hot tongue inside her mouth. After hearing her moan, Jungkook lost the last bit of sanity and he started kissing her badly like a hungry wolf. He let go of her hand and held the nape of her neck to deepen the kiss. She put her arm around his neck and kissed him back. Jungkook groaned, feeling tight inside his pants. He had completely lost control. His warm lip kissed their way down her neck and across her shoulder. She was shuddering in pleasure. Jungkook brought his lips to her ear and rasped softly. I love you, Ryan. Jasmine felt as if lightning had struck her. She placed her hand on his chest and pushed him. Jungkook staggered, and at the same moment, light of the house came back. Jungkook looked at her with his confused face after balancing himself. Why did you do that? Words came out of her mouth in a low voice. Jungkook cursed under his breath when he realized what he had just done. You said you liked Ryan more than anything else in the world, then why did you kiss the other woman behind her back? His heart aced. The punishment that God has inflicted on him is killing him from within. He wants to tell her that she is his Ryan, but he can't do it because if he tells her the truth, he will lose both Jasmine and Ryan. It was a mistake. We should not have done that, Jasmine said. Jungkook bowed his head and closed his eyes as tears welled up in his eyes. Jasmine was also angry with herself. She looked at Jungkook, whose head was bowed as if he was guilty. She pressed her lips into a thin line. It was my fault too. I kissed him instead of stopping him. And he confessed his love for Ryan. Maybe he thought I was Ryan. Jasmine let out a deep sigh and said, "It was a mistake, so let's forget it." Jungkook did not say anything and kept his head down. Jasmine looked at Jungkook for the last time and started walking towards the stairs to her room. When suddenly the main door opened and the men dressed in black entered the house with their guns. Jasmine gasped and raised her hand in the air. "What the hell are you doing here?" Jasmine jumped in surprise when she heard Jungkook's voice. She looked at Jungkook, who, in a fit of rage, approached the man. "We are here to take Ryan," said Taeyang, and Jungkook's nostrils were with rage. Jasmine lowered her hand and looked at the man in confusion. She does not know who these men are and what they want, but seeing Jungkook's anger, she understood that they were Jungkook's enemy. "Guards!" Jungkook shouted. "Sorry, man, we did not want to kill our men, so we knocked them all unconscious," Jimin said and walked toward Jungkook and stood beside him. By now, Jungkook had realized that his friends had come here with all the arrangement. "Dylan, bring her here," Taeyang said to the man standing next to Jasmine. "No." Jasmine took a few steps back in fear. "Dylan, I will cut off your hand if you touch her," Jungkook shouted. Dylan ignored his boss word and walked over to Jasmine. She did not know what was happening, so she did what anyone would do in her place. She ran. She ran to the stairs, but Dylan was fast and caught her in a second. "Let me go." Jasmine tried to free herself from his grip. Fire flashed in Jungkook's eye. He moved toward Jasmine, but his footsteps stopped in the middle when he felt a sting in the side of his neck. Jungkook touched his neck and saw a little blood on his finger. He looked back and saw Jimin holding an injection in his hand. "What have you done?" Jungkook asked. "I have given you an injection that will paralyze your body for hours. You will be able to see, hear, and feel everything, but you will not be able to move," Jimin replied, walking toward the couch. He sat on the couch with one leg on the other knee, as if he were a king. Jimin's words further inflamed Jungkook's anger. He took long strides towards Jimin, but after taking a few steps, he fell to his knees on the ground. The drug has started to work. Jimin smirked at Jungkook, who was on his knees in front of him. "Please let me go." Jungkook heard Jasmine's voice. He turned his face towards her and saw her fighting in Talon's grip. Jungkook's body was losing energy, but still he stood up with great courage and started walking toward her with slow steps. Jasmine was crying and was continuously looking at Jungkook, begging with her eyes to save her from these men. Jungkook's body lost all her energy and fell completely to the ground, but his eyes were fixed on Jasmine, whose eyes were wide open in fear. Taeyang stepped towards Jungkook and knelt down in front of him. Jungkook looked up at his face, his eye reddened with rage, and looked at Taeyang as if he were warning him. "You ruined her life once, but I won't let you do it again." Dark look covered Taeyang's face as he stared at Jungkook with the same intensity. "I told you that one day I would come and take Ryan away from you, and you would not be able to do anything." A smirk spread across Taeyang's lips. "Now stop me if you can," said Taeyang, getting up and walking towards Jasmine. Jungkook roared like an angry wolf. He wanted to stop them, but he could not move his finger even an inch. "Please let me go," Jasmine pleaded as Taeyang came and stood in front of her. Taeyang's eyes softened, and he looked at Dylan, who was feeling sad that she did not recognize them at all. Dylan was Ryan's personal bodyguard. Jungkook never let her out without him. Dylan was also present at the scene where his boss tried to kill her mercilessly. He was also surprised to see Ryan here. Everyone thought that the doctor could not save her. Sebastian had sternly ordered all the men at the scene to never tell Jungkook that they had taken Ryan to the hospital. He was also told them that the doctor could not save her and that she was dead. But when he saw Ryan again, he went to Sebastian and asked him the truth. Sebastian told him everything, and then Dylan decided to team up with Taeyang and Jimin. Throughout the month, everyone knew the truth, and some of them, together with Taeyang and Jimin, devised their plan. Taeyang looked at the other man and stretched out his palm. "Give me a handkerchief." The man quickly pressed the handkerchief on Taeyang's palm. Jasmine looked at him confusedly. "I'm sorry to do this, Ryan." Before Jasmine could understand his words, he placed a handkerchief over her nose. She struggled, but Dylan tightened it Her eye began to close. Taeyang removed the handkerchief and looked at Jasmine, who closed her eye and fell into Dylan's arm. Taeyang returned the handkerchief to the man and grabbed Jasmine from Dylan's grip. He picked her up and turned around. Jungkook was looking at him angrily, and Taeyang smirked and told his men, "It's time to go, boys." Taeyang walked with Jimin and the other men behind him to the main entrance, leaving Jungkook still paralyzed.